Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
I'm your host, Devin.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
We are real moms.
Sharing real experiences. The things people don't tell you.
Hey, mama. Hey, how you doing, friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I cannot complain. You know, I'm straight off vacation, honey, so I'm very, very good.
You look like you still got the island vibes.
You see this tan, honey.
Tanning and smiling, fresh braids, orange nails.
Girl, yes. You don't see me, though. Red lip. Anyway, we have a guest, friend. We have a guest.
We do. And she's just smiling and all in the camera. I love to see it. How are you, Deonna?
I'm doing well. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Yes, indeed. So Devin and I, y'all know we're on Instagram. And one day we saw this slide in she reached out to us and she said DMs. We were like, who is this? And there was this young lady, I'm not going to share what her name is, but oh my gosh, I know someone who would be great on you all's podcast. And I'm like, okay. And Devin was like, okay, so who is this person? So we looked her up and she was just, I'm like, absolutely, she should be on the podcast. So we set up a meeting with her and she was just one of the sweetest people we've ever to the show, Deonna, connected with in that way. So after having that conversation, learning more about her and her family and their story, we were like, absolutely, she has to be on the podcast. So here we are today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
She just had that sweet, innocent voice.
I know. And wait till y'all see her face. She's just so cute. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, and she got a nose ring like me. I love it.
Yes.
Y'all real cute or whatever.
Go ahead and join the nose ring crowd.
I cannot do pain.
I'll
you
hold your
know that.
hand. I'll hold
Low
your
tolerance.
hand. I know.
No, thank you.
We'll save your tattoo story for another day. We'll have to save that one because she cut a whole fool when we got matching tattoos. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Deonna, tell us about your journey to mamahood.
Ooh, the journey to mamahood. It's been interesting. It's been fun. I actually met my husband unconventionally on TV. And about 2 years into our relationship, we decided, well, maybe we should go ahead and start expanding our family. And I want to say it was probably during the pandemic. Like, we had been married for a year, pandemic hit, and we were like, well, this is a good time to go ahead and expand our family. So it didn't take long for Greg and I to have a bun in the oven. And back in February of 2021, Declan was born. So we have a little 2-year-old now.
We're both.
I
love his name too.
So cute.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. When she mentioned his name in our meeting, me and Devin was like, oh my God, we've never heard that name before. It's so cute.
So cute.
Love your son's name.
Thank you.
So you're a public figure, right? And tons of people know you. How do you create boundaries? Has anyone ever done anything crazy? Do you have any crazy people stories or anything like that? But more importantly, how do you create boundaries with your lifestyle and being a public figure, being on Instagram, YouTube, in a public eye? How do you navigate through that?
Yes. So I'm not a big fan of sharing everything on social media. So there are certain things that I'll keep to myself. And between Greg and I, we set those boundaries between the two of us. Like, are you good with sharing this? Or is this a moment that we're just keeping to ourselves? So we don't share everything. And that's how we keep things kind of close to our hearts. And then when it comes to crazy stories, we haven't really ran into that, knock on wood. Like, we're doing good in that department. People sometimes will, out of curiosity, ask intrusive questions, but I know that it's not coming from a malicious place. So most of the time, either I'll tiptoe around the answer or I may answer them separately. If it's something just rude and out of pocket, we just delete and block. I don't even address it, just delete and block. But for the most part, people don't say anything to my face out of pocket or anything like that. And I think I like it that way.
Right. So when you say
like that
intrusive,
delete
what? Yeah, delete and we have deleted and blocked some
life
people.
motto though, like delete
Right.
and block.
So when you say intrusive, like, what do you mean? Like, what are they asking you?
Ooh, from day one after Greg and I got married and our show aired, it was immediately, when are y'all gonna have babies? And I was like, y'all, I mean, I know it's a TV show. I literally just met him last month. Like, we are
Right.
not at that place. Let me get to know him a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, so it's mainly questions like that around like, when are you gonna have a baby? When are you gonna have another baby? Which I'm not comfortable with that conversation. Like, it's my body,
Right.
and I just feel like you asking when I want to have another one. How do you know I want another one? How do you know that I can have another one? Like, how do you know we haven't been trying and things have just been like going haywire? So it's just not a good question to ask a woman, to be like, so when are you gonna have more?
I don't think people
don't.
realize how insensitive that question is. Like, they may have good intention behind it, but it's a very intrusive and insensitive question, given all the factors that could be the reason why this family may not have a second or third or what have you child. So y'all stop asking that question. Whoever
Please,
y'all
it's
is.
2023. Like, we've talked about this, but since I've been married, at least 2014, women have been asking, hey, stop asking this question. So it's like, it's not like we don't know. We just choose not to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people don't want more kids. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Kids are a lot.
They are expensive.
Very
I was just about to
expensive.
say that they're so expensive. So it's like, are you going to pay for this daycare bill?
Right.
Are you
Yeah.
dropping $2,000-$3,000 a month on daycare for 2 kids? No, then be
And
quiet.
it's more daycare and
And right, that's just
it's
daycare.
so much that goes into caring for a child, and for folks to just assume that you have the bandwidth, whether that's mentally, physically, monetarily, whatever, to care for second, third, fourth, whatever child. Just mind your business.
Yeah, that's all. Just mind your business.
Just mind
Ashley
your
Banks.
business. Right. Just mind your business. Okay, so Deonna, you have a lot going on in life. You and your husband are both busy. Y'all are digital creators. You have your own businesses. You like to travel. Like, how do you all ensure that you are being present? Like, you have a young baby boy. Like, how do you all stay present during those sweet, precious, tiny moments with him and in life in general?
Ooh, that can sometimes be hard, honestly. On putting the phone down, being intentional on eating at the table together. Like, sometimes just we're gonna eat dinner together, turn the TV off sometimes, and just it be the three of us. Even being focused on Greg and I's like personal like date time. So, hey, we have date night set up, scheduled with my mom. She'll come up, or we'll send Declan down to them one weekend out of the month. And then this is our time. We focus on us. And then we also try to focus on individual time. So every now and then I'll try to set up brunch with some of my girlfriends. And then even like right now, Greg is out with one of his homeboys, and they're out like having some drinks. So we try to separate that time to where we each can fill up our own cups, but we just really have to do a lot of planning. I will definitely say, number one, plan it out, make sure it's on the calendar, and everybody knows, hey, our day is coming. What are we doing? Have we already planned? So definitely helps.
Planning
That's
is
good.
it's a necessity. You can't just live life freely like you used to when you have kids involved. So
Yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge for me, becoming a mom. It's just playing everything down to the T. I mean, down to meals, clothes, change of clothes, accidents, in case of. So I think that was the biggest challenge for me.
yeah.
So how did you were on a major network television show. how did you go back to normal? Like, what was your normal? Did you go back to normal? Did your life just change
Do you have a new
forever?
normal?
Like, do you have a new normal? Like, walk us through that.
I will definitely say I have now a new normal. I would after the show aired and then was picked up again by a different network. That's when things really got crazy because it was during the pandemic and everybody was at home. So I was like, oh, just going to the grocery store and then people are stopping to say, hey, I saw you on TV. And I'm like, that first time took me by surprise. I was like, I don't know you. Like, it was all good intentions, good energy, but for the lot, like, I'm a normal person.
Right.
And someone that I don't know was coming up to me and they know me based off of the show.
Right.
It was really, really humbling, I will say. I would say it was definitely humbling. I was honored, but I was like, this is weird. But that's now my new normal. So occasionally people will stop and say, oh my God, I saw you on TV. Can I take a picture? And I always say yes. Like, I don't mind. But definitely a new normal. Going back to work was bananas. Okay.
Did your job know that you were
Yeah.
a part of
Well,
this
certain people
experiment,
in
so
my
to
job.
speak? Okay.
Certain people at my job knew. Of course, my team that I worked directly with, because I was taking time off, I was leaving, I was doing random things. Like, I was
Right.
gone for 2 weeks at a time, and they were like, this is just weird. So they knew.
Right.
And when I came back, and the rest of the building found out, because everybody was like, hey, this girl, she's on TV, da 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 da. And people that I never knew on different floors were like, oh my gosh, like, you really did that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is intense. I'm just trying to do my work right now. Like, it's the 9 to 5.
Right.
But
Does
no,
your husband get the same, or did he get the same response after everything ended?
yes, and it's usually a lot more noticeable when we're both together. And that was the main thing that everybody like really noticed of like, hey, y'all were on that show. But everybody's just really nice. They just want to take a picture or
Right.
ask us like, what was the experience like, or was it real, or oh, y'all are still together. And it's like, yeah, we got a whole family now. So.
Yeah. So what, and you probably answered this on the show, but for those who may not have seen the show or maybe getting to know you for the first time, like what made you do that?
Yeah, my dating life was bad. It was bad. I'm be honest. It was trash. So
Not trash.
it was trash. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. So I saw on TV that they were coming to Charlotte, and I am a risk taker. Well, I'll say calculated risk. I'm a
Okay.
calculated risk taker. I will try just about anything at least once. And that was my thing of, I mean, if they're coming, why not? Like, they could help me find a husband. That's what I want in life. I'm clearly not doing it right. Put it in somebody else's hands. And I signed up, and they just kept calling me back. And I was just like, well, this is just Jesus at this point, because
Right.
there is no way. Like, little old me, and they just, come back. And it worked out.
Wow.
Happy it worked out, and it's still going strong, obviously.
Yes.
So cute.
So we've talked about how you and your husband met, and obviously you all have brought a child into this world, and coming from different households really impacts the way we parent our children. I know my husband was raised a lot differently than I was, and I'm sure a lot of households operate that way. Mom was raised one way, dad was raised one way, and we got to figure it out. So how have you and your husband navigated this world of parenting styles? Like, how has that worked out for you all?
We are still working on that. We go to couples counseling. We go to couples therapy. It's been a few months since we've done it, but for the first, I would say, solid 4 years, we were going monthly. it was just really helpful to have additional support. So we had the same therapist from day one. And when we got pregnant, we talked about parenting styles and just kind of learning each other and talking about how we were raised, what we ideally would want, like our parenting styles to be. So for us, that has been something that we're constantly working through. I'm trying to find a balance of like gentle parenting and how I was raised, which, you know, like I turned out fine, but it wasn't
maybe not so gentle.
It wasn't
A little rough, a little rough around the edges.
Right. But I came from a 2-parent household, which was different from Greg, who grew up with his mom and his sister. And we're just constantly finding that balance and also like allowing the other person their space to find what that style is for them, so that I'm not like hovering or you should do it this way. Well, let him figure it out. And that's where I'm still working on.
You and us.
Yeah, because I struggle with that. I have to catch myself sometimes because I don't know what it is, but for some reason, like when my husband yell at my kids, I feel like I have to protect them. And it's like, that's their dad. Like I should not be in protection mode, but it's just like, don't yell at them. But I can yell at them with no problem.
Right.
But when he does it, I'm just like, no, those are my babies.
Yes.
They didn't mean it. So
Yes. I feel the same way. I don't like when Jonathan yells at Eli. It makes me feel away. Even though that his dad and Eli is cutting up. He needs to be
Right.
somebody needs to reel him in. But
Right.
it just doesn't feel good. Like I think as mothers, we don't like to hear our kids in distress, and we don't like whoever is stressing them out like in that moment.
Right.
So it is hard to my husband and I were raised differently. I'm actually a little rougher around the edges when it comes to parenting than my husband is. Even though I just said I don't like when he yells at him, but it is that's hard to navigate with being parents, especially parents who grew up in 2 completely different households. So you're not alone in that journey, Deonna. We're all in that together, and I don't think it's something that will, like, of course, face value with kids, like you're gonna operate on the same page, but I know me and Jonathan have had several conversations behind closed doors outside of Eli.
Absolutely.
I don't really like the way you handle that situation, or you shouldn't have challenged me. And so it's still an ongoing journey of parenting as one, at least, even behind the closed doors. So you're not alone there.
Yeah. So Deonna, who's more strict, you or your husband?
Definitely my husband. Definitely Greg.
Definitely.
It's Greg. 100%.
Yeah.
I thought that I would be able to be a little bit more strict than what I am, and Declan has me wrapped around his little pinky finger. It's sad. Yeah. I'm the soft one. He knows to come to mommy. She'll give it to you. Like, I try not to, but his face is just so cute.
I know. I know.
I feel like there
I get
are
it,
levels
girl.
to like comfort. Like when your kid needs a hug, and like they're just, Eli likes to be rough and jump off the couch, and if he hits his head or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, come here. My husband's like, no, he shouldn't have been jumping on the couch. But it's like, he hurt his head and he needs some loving. So it's like that side of things. I'm a little softer than he is. But if he's just not listening, then I'm the one that probably yell first. And Jonathan's like, Eli, come sit down. A lot softer. So it just depends on the situation. I don't know.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm the marshmallow, and the kids know it, and they feed into it, and that's all right. All the kids know it, even Kendra kid knows it. So it's just like they all come to me whenever they're in trouble. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go over there because I know she's the one that can just walk all over." So yeah, it's okay. I'll be that person. Okay, so we all have our strengths and weaknesses, okay? Leave me alone. You So you are a fairly new mama, right? Your son is 2. Like, what are some challenges that you're facing right now? What would you say is the biggest hurdle right now in motherhood for you?
Right now, at the age of 2, he's finding his voice. And I'm trying to give him some space to like use his voice, but then there are also times I'm like, bruh, we don't got time for this.
Right.
I need you to do what mommy is saying right now. So finding that balance of like, earlier I could just pick you up, put you in the boppy, I can go do what I gotta do. You're active, you got opinions, like you waking up, I want pancakes and sausage. Like, bruh, I'm not a short order cook. Like, no. I'm gonna eat this cereal and we're gonna be fine. But then I just cook eggs and bacon. So, but yeah, like I'm just trying to find that balance of letting him make decisions, but also know, like, put those boundaries there so that he does feel like he can be independent and grow, and not just be a what do they call, like a yes man. Like I just go along with everything, where I don't have a backbone when I grow up, or I don't challenge, you know, the social norms or anything like that. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on right now.
That's important.
Good luck. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's important. It's a hard
Yeah.
balance, because you want to,
Yeah.
like you said, give them the freedom to have a voice and advocate and have some agency over their lives, but at the same time, it's like, who are you talking to? And no,
Right.
you're not getting no pancakes and sausage, because this is what we're having for breakfast. So I
Right.
get it.
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, it is. And my oldest is 5, and the way this boy advocates for himself, sometimes I'm like, is this a blessing or a curse? Like, because
Drew will advocate for self. He will.
and it's just like, oh my gosh, did we create a little monster, or should I be proud? But like you said, it's that fine line. So it's always like reeling him back in. Like, yes, I understand what you're saying, but you cannot say it like that. Like, we have to find some other words to use, or a different tone. So now we're working on tone and attitude, and everything's just so dramatic right now. But that's neither here or there.
I think they're all dramatic. All of them. Just dramatic. It don't matter how old they are. Just dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy. So, Deonna, we're going to shift back to your life with your husband. So,
Okay.
you two didn't know each other when you met, right?
Correct.
But you're still married. You're going strong. Like, what is you and your husband's secret to a successful marriage? Like, how is this thing still holding on strong from your perspective?
From my perspective, I will say that going to therapy, even when things aren't going wrong, has been very helpful. We're still learning each other, and we're 4 years in. So there's different seasons that we're going through. We now have different titles. Like, we're now mom and dad, and we don't know who we are necessarily as a mom and dad together, as well as being husband and wife. So I would definitely say that therapy has been one of the main things that has helped us just talk through different situations, to see each other's point of view, to think about things that we didn't think to bring up, or how that is now showing up in our relationship differently because of something that happened in the past, and just kind of, working on ourselves. Like, that's the main thing that has really been helpful in us seeing eye to eye on a lot of different things. But yeah, we go even when things aren't going wrong. And I think that's one of the main things of people just seeing, like, therapy is good, and it's like going to the doctor. Like, nothing has to be wrong for you to go.
That's good. That's really good.
Saving a lot of folks in marriages and just lives, period.
Yeah. So with y'all being strangers too, like, how did you integrate your families? Did y'all adapt easily, or was there some struggle, or how did y'all? navigate through that?
That was really interesting. Like, the families got along really well, really quick. At the wedding, of course, Greg and I are separated. Our families are out, they're sitting down, they're at the ceremony site, and they're ready to go. But the whole time, like, they're having conversations across the aisle, like getting to know one another. The entire time, like, we're doing other things. Like, this is the time that they're mixing and mingling and getting to know one another. And I was just amazed at how, like, smoothly everything was going. Like, the next day after our wedding, Greg and I, of course, like, we're still, filming, and, there's scenes that we have to work on. But I called my mom, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to have brunch with Greg's mom and his sister." And I'm like, "Excuse me, what?" Like,
right. They said, "Forget y'all. We're gonna get to know each other too."
I legit feel some type of way. I was like, "You're going without me? Like, what do you mean? I'm supposed to be there." But yeah, like, they got along really well, and they still do to this day. Like, we celebrate holidays together. We go on vacations together. Like, as a group, my parents and his mom, we're all going. And it's
awesome.
It's just been really a blessing that everything has gone smoothly.
I love that.
Indeed.
That's awesome. All right. So as far as, like, any mama that's in the spotlight, what advice do you have for her?
Say the question one more time.
So any mama that may be in the spotlight right now, that may have a lot of attention, lights, camera, action, or Insta famous. Yeah. Woo.
I'm sorry. When you said lights, camera, action, I just heard, "Sorry, Miss Jackson."
What advice do you have for her? Like, because you seem very grounded and solid and confident in who you are, and sometimes people get lost in that with fame, with popularity, may get lost. So what advice do you have for that mama?
I would definitely say, be true to yourself. At the end of the day, like, be true to yourself. You don't have to put on airs because you're in the spotlight. Just be you. And people will like you for that. They will hate you for that. But at the end of the day, being true to yourself will make you feel like, I've accomplished what I need to accomplish. I am a good mom. I did a great day. I've taken care of my child and my family. Like, I'm the main person that has to judge that. I don't care about what other people think. And as long as you are just being mindful of that, I feel like that will continue to, like, help you through some of the dark times that can come up with the internet and the social presence being around. And then also just setting boundaries. Like, I don't have to share everything. I don't have to answer everything. And I can always delete and block. And
There we go.
And block. All
Delete
2023.
And beyond.
And beyond.
And beyond.
Before we move on to Mama Juice, I just want to shout out our sponsors for the
Oh,
show.
absolutely.
So we've been working really hard to get some sponsors, and we're getting sponsorships, and this is so
you.
exciting. So our first sponsor is SelfieSkin Co, and we've actually been wearing their, or excuse me, not wearing,
using their product.
You see the glow? You see the glow? And so we're absolutely falling in love with this skincare line.
Absolutely.
So definitely give that a try. And then who's our next sponsor?
We also have North 24. We have some of them displayed here. I don't know if you all can see. But North 24 or North 24th, excuse me, is a natural cleaning line.
Yeah.
And their products smell so good.
Yeah.
What we have here is the lavender and patchouli, like
All-purpose.
all-purpose cleaning, and it smells so good,
And it works.
Literally works.
Yeah.
So definitely give North 24th a try.
Yes. And SelfieSkin Co.
Yes,
We're glowing.
Oh, yes. You see that? You see that? Absolutely. We have a sponsor, which is Poise Wine. It's right here. We have a sweet, dry white wine, and we also have a sparkling rosé here.
So that was really good. Okay, so since we deleting and blocking folks, friend, what we drinking?
Well,
For Mama's
those
Corner.
of you listening to the first time, we have a segment each show called Mama Juice, where we curate a drink to fit the personality and preferences of our guests. And Deonna shared that she is a spicy margarita girl. So Jonathan and I created a drink that is a little similar to a spicy margarita. And what is it called? So we titled this drink Sparkle and Spice.
Love it.
What do y'all think's in it? Sparkle and Spice.
Something spicy?
Something sparkling, maybe. Maybe a little bit of. Okay, so let me tell you all what's in the drink. So first, we smoked a glass with rosemary.
Ooh, fancy.
So we used a torch and we smoked the rosemary, and then we put the glass over the rosemary and let the glass fill up with rosemary smoke while we made the drink. So this is what's in the cocktail shaker. 2 ounces of tequila, juice from a whole lemon, a half an ounce of agave, candied jalapenos. Shake it all up, put it over ice. Now in your smoky rosemary cocktail glass, and then you top it with sparkling grapefruit juice. And also the rim is brimmed with Himalayan pink sea salt.
Oh, you
And
got
that
real
is-
fancy.
Nice.
I know. What would I do? First of all, Jonathan, y'all know he really helps me curate
Yes.
these drinks. So it's like I'm tossing out ingredients, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds good," and I'm gonna mix this up, and then we shake it up and we try it, and we say, that is good." So that is Deonna's Sparkle and Spice cocktail. And for our mamas or mamas to be who can't drink, don't want to drink, whatever, we do have a mocktail version. And it has the same smoky glass of rosemary, but we use lemonade instead of tequila. And we put the agave in there. You can have those candy jalapenos as well. And you can also top with sparkling grapefruit juice. And that is our
Sounds
Sparkle
tasty.
and Spice.
I like
good.
it.
It's good.
Oh, it looks good.
I'm sorry, I'm up here drinking.
It's okay.
Y'all see that jalapeno down there?
I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if this is your first time listening, we have a segment on the show called Mama's Corner, and this is our opportunity to connect with our guests further and our listeners. So typically they write in and ask a question, and I kind of strategically plan and place the question. So we do have a question today that I thought was fitting for the conversation. So it says, "Hey mamas, I absolutely love the podcast. Thanks. I love when y'all give us compliments.
Hey, hey,
Keep
hey.
those
Yes, thank
going.
you.
And I love when y'all say, hey mamas. You can say, hey mama, hey, all that. So I didn't realize how broad motherhood is. That's true. Doing this podcast, I'm like, dang, it's a lot of stuff that goes on in mamahood. I recently married and I'm ready to have some babies. Oh, but my husband isn't. How do I get him on board? We'll let you go first, Deonna.
Yeah, Deonna looking like, I don't know.
I kind of went through this with Greg.
Okay.
I wanted to have kids, and it's not that he didn't want to have kids, but it was more so like when he was ready to have kids. We started practicing with our nephew. My sister has a son. He's a year older than Declan. I would make Greg and I babysit. Like, let's get used to having babies around. That way he could kind of get used to what comes along with it. The diapers, the screaming, the crying for no reason. And I think that doing that and then just having open conversations around, like, realistically, what does this look like if we do have kids? You know, he's with you for 18 years. You're responsible for him. Like, how does your life change? That was kind of how I approached it, like, with Greg. I would definitely say, like, having conversations first to see if you can align. And maybe just babysitting, you know, get used to it. See if that works.
That's a good idea. What you got, friend? I'm still pondering.
Yeah, so I have two things. One, why does he not want to have kids? And two, was it agreed upon before you all got married that you wanted to have kids? So those would be my two questions. It's to really, I feel like that's something that, you know, if folks are, they want to be married or be life partners or what have you, whatever their scenario is, that should be a conversation before things get too serious, so that if one wants to have kids and the other doesn't, they can navigate that relationship before things get a bit too serious. And then we get to this phase of one wants to have kids and one doesn't. So, and then even if, you know, they do or they have had this conversation and one changes their mind, it's a matter of why. Like, did something trigger you're not wanting to have kids anymore? Like Deonna said, communication is pretty key, I guess, in this conversation. So really getting to the root of why the other person doesn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm still kind of struggling, but I think just continue to communicate. I don't know, to Kendra's point, I don't know if you guys had this conversation and he got cold feet or he's nervous or he wants to be at a certain financial status. Sometimes men feel like they have to have everything together before they can move on to the next step, and women are more like dreamers, like, we'll get through it, let's just do it. So that could be part of his apprehension. I'm not sure, but I would just say communicate and maybe babysit. You know, he may just be nervous. Just give it some time. I'm not sure your age. I don't know if you're a little older or younger. If you're older, you're probably like, okay, like, I don't have too much time, bruh. Like, what you doing? If you're younger, you know, give yourself some time. Enjoy your marriage. Really enjoy your husband if you're younger, because kids will change your marriage for better and for worse. So
Both of them.
So
we gonna get some
take
better
your time. Right. Take your time, because things will change. At the beginning of this episode, we said we cannot get up and go no longer. We have to plan everything out to a T, and that is not a lie. So just enjoy your marriage and, you know, just have fun until y'all figure out what y'all want to do. Just have fun. Enjoy your husband, girl.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I think all three of us thoroughly answered that question.
Yes,
to the best of our ability. With y'all, context is so important. I know we said write short things, but like, give us some details so we're not like
right. So we're not trying to figure out like, well, did they talk about this before, or did y'all communicate? Like, what was
thank
the
you for
premise
writing
of this
in.
conversation?
Yes, continue to write in. We need Mama's Corner to be on and popping. Thank you. I'm not complaining, because I do be fussing when y'all don't write. So I'm not fussing. I'm just saying, give me a little bit more context, and don't make it super long, but just give us some details. That's all.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you for writing in. Yes, Mama to be.
Deonna, how can we find you on social media, or our listeners who may be interested in learning more about you and Greg and Declan and y'all's life and everything else?
Anything you want to plug it.
Gotcha. So I can be found on Instagram, Deonna.McNeil. Greg and I do have a YouTube channel, The Okoties. So we are on there. And Greg and I also have a clothing brand, Akpesiri, Akpesiri. And we sell different t-shirts, hoodies. We have joggers, just kind of like athleisure wear, along with all the different t-shirts and tanks. But it is a lifestyle brand. It is named after Greg. That is his middle name, and it means the good life.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, we have been running that business now since November of 2019, and we are still doing really well. We have a lot of faith-based items on there and some lifestyle items, so you guys should go check it out, see if anything piques your interest, and go support.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
We'll have all of that in the description box.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and say it.
It's okay. No, it's all right. No need to repeat. No need to repeat.
I'm sorry, friend.
But no, that's all good. Great minds think alike. Well, Deonna, this was great. Thank you so much for kicking it at the pod. We really enjoyed having you, and I'm sure our listeners are going to enjoy you too. So
yes,
thanks for having me.
I'm sure we'll have to have you and Greg on together.
Yes, we got to bring y'all back. Yes, the whole family. Yeah, that'll be so cute. Yeah, we definitely have to have y'all back for sure.
Yes, yeah.
All
I don't know
right.
if Declan will cooperate, but me and Greg will be there.
You know what,
that's right.
Deonna? I had this bright idea with Devin. I said we should interview Drew because he's gonna be 5 soon, and she was like, "Mm-mm." I'm like, "Why not? Like that would be cool to have." I don't know.
Interview with
We
a
might. He might be
5-year-old. You know,
I don't know.
just
He
might.
can get like maybe 2 minutes, and then
I
that's
think
about
Drew
it.
would do great on the podcast. I do.
We'll ask our listeners, see what they want.
Okay.
How about that?
Surveying on the social media. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I bet you they'll say, yes, we want to hear from Drew.
We'll
yes.
see.
Anyways.
Until next time, mamas. Bye.
Bye.
All so much for joining us at the Real Mama Pod.
Yes, every Thursday night. Y'all could be anywhere.
But you're hanging out with us.
Yes, and we love it. So, friend, where can they find you?
They can find me anywhere they like. I'm on Instagram at KendraFerg _. And I'm also on Facebook, Kendra Ferguson.
Okay.
What about you?
And you can reach me at DevGrace _ Instagram, TikTok,
Pinterest,
Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, all of that at the Real Mama
Pod.
Yeah, so make sure you follow us. If you want to learn more about Kendra and I, you can check out our website where we have Mama merch. Hey, you can see our little
All
sweatshirts.
right.
Yeah.
We are wearing our Mama merch.
Yeah, we have sweatshirts, hats, necklaces. We also have Rich Auntie merch. So you can purchase that at www.therealmamapod.com.
Dot.
We're so corny.
I know.